A Blab school or ABC school or old-time school was a type of children's primary school in North America, outdated and obsolete since the 20th century. The school children recited the lessons out loud separately or in chorus with others as a method of learning. Etymology and word origin. Blab is the shortened form of the word blabber, meaning to talk much without making sense. From Old English comes the word mother tongue, meaning to blab, which was to speak from the mouth. Middle English had the noun blab, one who does not control his tongue. A blab school was where the school children repeated back the teacher's oral lesson at the top of the voices. The school children vocalized out the lesson in Chinese fashion, as harmonized voices in unison. In more elegant terms, instead of saying they were blab schools, they were referred to as vocal schools. The neighbors of such a children's school of the 19th century would hear all the noise coming from the school of the children reciting the teacher's lesson aloud, and then dubbed the schools Blab school since it sounded like blab blab blab. Description. A blab school was popular in frontier days of the American West, since many settlers could not read. These one-room schools were called old field schools and were log cabins, many times with just earth floors. The students sat on wooden backless bench. This type of school was referred to as an old-time school in the Appalachian region of Virginia in the 19th century. A blab school was basically without books and paper from the students. The schooling consisted of a teacher, with perhaps one or two books, speaking a short oral lesson and the school children reciting it back with a loud voice several times until memorized. The only requirement needed to become a teacher was to know how to read. Reciting the information learned was a form of entertainment in frontier days as well as a means of learning. In those days paper was scarce, so memorizing was the preferred method over writing things down. The subjects of reading, writing, and arithmetic were the basic ABC items in the 19th century, typically learned by the young children reciting out loud the lesson. In blab schools it was typical for a teacher to comment about a child grasping his lesson. This student was referred to as a leatherhead and was awarded with praise from his teacher. In many of the ABC schools of the United States, each pupil was to recite first thing in the morning of the new school day the lesson they learned of the homework assignment of the previous day. The ambitious ones reached the schoolhouse by sunrise since they recited in the order of their arrival in the morning. The school rule was first come, first called, and after a student's recital the teacher called out next, as they knew the order of each student's arrival. The method of reciting one's lesson to memorize it was referred to as loud studying. Many people of the time believed that listening to one blabbing out loud the lesson benefited the education of the other students. Teachers were not shy in dishing out punishment to those who didn't loudly shout out the lesson. The teacher would walk around the classroom with a wooden switcher paddle when the students were reciting and use it on the child if the student was not loud enough to the teacher's pleasing. Abraham Lincoln, U.S. President Abraham Lincoln learned his ABCs when he attended a blab school which he walked to in his youth. The school he first attended was at least a mile from his home. His first two teachers were Zachariah Riney and Caleb Hazel, who taught from a windowless schoolhouse. Another teacher of Lincoln was Asil Waters Dorsey, who taught him for 6 months in 1824 in a blab school in Spencer County, Indiana. Lincoln learned first from spelling books. It was customary to learn first to spell all the words of the spelling books and recite several times before advancing to read other books. Lincoln studied Dilworth's Speller and Webster's Old Blueback. Later then he advanced to reading Murray's English Reader. Lincoln was noted for shouting out his reading lesson on the path from his home to the blab school and could be heard for a considerable distance. He had the habit of reading anything aloud. Between the ages of 11 and 15, Lincoln went to school occasionally between his obligated home duties. All of Lincoln's schooling combined in various Blab schools amounted to less than a year. Many times the Blab school Lincoln attended didn't even have a teacher, and the older, smarter students, are often teenagers, taught the younger children. Bibliography. Addington, Robert Milford. The Old Time School in Scott County. Angle. The Lincoln Reader. Da Capo Press. ISBN 978-0306-803987. Barton, William Eleazar. The Soul of Abraham Lincoln. George H. Dorr and Company. Burlingame, Michael. Abraham Lincoln, A Life. JHU Press. ISBN 978-080189467-1. Carnegie, Dale. Public Speaking for Success. Penguin Group US. ISBN 978-1101-11856-6. Carey, Barbara. Meet Abraham Lincoln, Random House Children's Books. ISBN 978-0307-786944. Civic Press. Town and Amp County edition of the American City. Civic Press. Evangelical Alliance for the United States of America. General Christian Conference. National Needs and Remedies. Baker and Amp Taylor Company. Facts on File, Incorporated. Abraham Lincoln. Info-based publishing. ISBN 978-1-4381-26128. Feldman, Ruth Tenzer. Don't Whistle in School, The History of America's Public Schools. 21st Century Books. ISBN 978-0822517450. Fleming, Candace. The Lincolns, A Scrapbook Look at Abraham and Mary. Schwartz and Amp Wade Books. ISBN 978-0375-83618-3. Friedman, Russell. Lincoln, A Photobiography. Houghton Mifflin Harcourt. ISBN 0-547-53220-2. Griffin, John Chandler. Mr. Lincoln and His War. Pelican Publishing. ISBN 978-1-4556-0905-5. Hubert Philip Gengember. The Atlantic Monthly. Atlantic Monthly Co. Ernst Stephen B. With Malast Award None. The Life of Abraham Lincoln. HarperCollins. ISBN 978-006-1952241. Osborne, Mary Pope Boyce, Natalie Pope. Magic Treehouse Fact Tracker Number 25. Abraham Lincoln. A non-fiction companion to Magic Treehouse Number 47. Abe Lincoln at Last. Random House Children's Books. ISBN 978-0375-98861-5. Pascal, Janet. Who was Abraham Lincoln? Penguin Group US. ISBN 978-1-4406-8813-3. Savory, Tanya. Abraham Lincoln, A Giant Among Presidents. Townsend Press. ISBN 978-1-59194-1804. Thomas Sue. A Second Home, Missouri's Early Schools. University of Missouri Press. ISBN 978-0826265661. Townley, Claudine. How to Prepare for the FCAT, Grade 10 Florida Comprehensive Assessment Test in Reading and Writing. Barron's Educational Series. ISBN 978-07641-2746-5.